You are watching this video because you understand that the coming years, especially 2026, will be marked by prolonged supply chain disruptions, economic instability, and unpredictable climate events. This is not about an immediate threat. It's about recognizing patterns. When global systems begin to fail, it is the things we take for granted that disappear first. And when they disappear, the masses begin to panic, leading to a sharp rise in prices and empty shelves. My name is Zach. I have been training since 2012 and have already witnessed several panics. But the year 2026 is something else. It is the year when temporary shortages will turn into a permanent deficit of critically important infrastructure goods. While everyone else realizes this too late, you calmly prepare yourself with 35 essential items that true prepared people, not hoarders, are already starting to buy in a panic. Forget the grim forecasts and the influence of the dissatisfied who advise spending thousands on expensive tactical gear. We will focus on basic items that help your family stay fed, healthy, and functioning, often at a very affordable price if you buy them today. We are talking about essential items whose prices will either double or completely disappear from the shelves in the next 30 months. I will tell you why each item is critically important, how much is needed for a family of 4 for at least 180 days, and the often unexpected storage tips I've learned from experience. Let's get to the basics of preparation. Water. It may seem obvious, but when infrastructure fails, municipal water treatment plants are the first victims. Consider the complexity of pumps, filters, and water purification for an entire city. If the power grid fails for at least a week, or if the chlorine supply is interrupted, the water entering your home will no longer be safe. The first point is multi-level water filtration systems. Everyone understands that they need a filter. Therefore, inexpensive personal filters costing $15 disappear overnight. A smart approach is duplication and reserve capacity. You need 3 levels of filtration protection. First, acquire a high-performance system with gravity feed, something like Berkey, or an affordable equivalent with comparable power. These systems manage the amount of water needed for daily drinking and cooking for the family. We talk about the need to filter 4 to 6 gallons a day at least. Immediately invest in 2 complete sets of spare filters. The filters have a finite lifespan, and waiting for their replacement in 2026 will be useless. One of the common mistakes made by prepared people is overestimating the lifespan of filters. Although some of them are designed for thousands of gallons, sediments and silt can significantly shorten this lifespan in a real crisis situation. In 2014, while testing various systems after a small regional flood, I discovered that a filter supposedly rated for 10,000 gallons had clogged after processing only 500 gallons of heavily polluted pond water. Prepare for the worst water quality, not the best. Secondly, acquire portable options. Reliable filters like the Sawyer Mini or quality pump filters are the foundation of your emergency kit and a backup for the gravity filtration system. A chemical alternative is also necessary, which we will discuss later. Don't forget to purchase 2 high-performance filters and 4 spare filters. The cost of a good filtration system is negligible compared to the risk of serious gastrointestinal diseases when medical assistance is unavailable. The next item is water storage containers that meet food safety standards. Filtration is important, but storing water gives you time. That is why warnings prompt people to buy 55-gallon barrels in large quantities, and there is a reason for that. They are large, stackable, and inexpensive compared to their volume. Your goal should be to provide 1 gallon per person per day. For a family of 4, with a supply calculated for 180 days, that is 6 months, you will need 720 gallons. Relying solely on 45-gallon barrels means only 220 gallons, which is barely enough for 2 months. You need more volume. There is currently a high demand for new food barrels with a capacity of 55 gallons and water containers. Why new? Because using recycled barrels that contained chemicals or oil is a fatal mistake. They can never be completely disinfected. The trend of buying barrels is now focused on 55-gallon ones, as they are bulky and require specialized production, making them highly vulnerable to supply chain disruptions. It is also worth investing in 7-gallon stackable containers. Although barrels are effective, they are difficult to move when filled. 7-gallon aquatainers or water containers allow for manual transportation and replenishment of supplies, which is critical if you need to access water stored elsewhere, or if you need to refresh water supplies without moving 250 kilograms of liquid at once. Plan to acquire 10 to 15 barrels and 10 to 15 7-gallon containers. This stock will disappear from the shelves in the year 2026. The third item is water purification tablets. This is your backup measure in case of unforeseen circumstances. Iodine tablets or chlorine dioxide, such as aquatabs, are lightweight, require no electricity, and have an unlimited shelf life when stored properly. They are necessary for emergencies or if your physical filter fails or gets clogged. The mistake people make is buying only one small package. A standard pack of 50 tablets purifies 50 liters. For 6 months, with a reserve of 720 gallons for a family of 4, you will need approximately 2,700 liters of purified water. This amounts to about 54 packs of 50 pills each. It may seem excessive, but if the filters fail, this is all you will have left. They are currently inexpensive, less than $20 per pack, but during a real panic, they will be hard to obtain. Buy them in bulk and store in a cool, dry place. The fourth item is food siphons and pumps. This is a forgotten element. You can have 720 gallons of water in storage, but how are you going to get it out of a 55-gallon barrel? Trying to flip a barrel weighing 250 kilograms is a way to injure your back and waste water. People buying goods in case of panic are eager to obtain simple hand pumps and siphons designed for viscous liquids. You need a mechanism that reliably draws water from the bottom of the barrel without contamination. Purchase at least 2 quality barrel pumps and 2 simple siphons. A cheap plastic hose found in hardware stores is often not food grade and can leach chemicals into your stored water over time. Ensure that the pump mechanism is suitable for storing drinking water. This small investment guarantees that your significant water supply will be accessible. Now, before moving on to the section about products, which will become truly relevant in the year 2026, I want to discuss something important. I understand that talking about 35 items and 720 gallons of water may seem frighteningly expensive and complicated, especially if you are just starting to prepare, or if your budget is limited. By the way, since I know how overwhelming the preparation process can be, I have prepared a free resource for you that addresses the most common objections I hear. I have no money or space. This is not just a general list. It is a simple and proven plan that I use myself to ensure your family's food security and peace of mind. No experience or large budget is required. This free guide provides a specific shopping list for $50 that will feed your family for over 90 days. I mean specific brands and prices. You will also find 37 essential items for preparation that most people never think about. And I promise that number 23 will surprise you. You will also learn a simple storage method that works in any house or apartment, even if you live in a tiny studio. Emergency dishes that can be prepared without fuel or electricity, and a snack from a gas station that can be used for bartering. Plus, there is a step-by-step guide to increasing supplies from 1 week to 3 months with confidence. Storage strategies to keep your supplies organized and fresh for years. And one oil that maintains stability and safety for a long time. All of this is completely free for you. Just let me know where to send it. The link is pinned in the comments and description below. Get it. This is the fastest and most accessible way to ensure your food security for the first 3 months. The second category is staple foods. Food security is the main reason for the panic buying. But most people are buying the wrong food. They purchase products with a 2-year shelf life that cost $10 per serving. We will focus on calorie density, durability, and availability. These are the products that sustain life and will completely disappear when global harvests fail. Point 5. White rice, the king of calories. Not brown rice. I repeat, not brown rice. Brown rice contains natural oils that can go rancid within 6 to 12 months, even in airtight packaging. Properly stored white rice in oxygen-free containers, sealed packages inside 20-liter buckets with oxygen absorbers, has a shelf life of over 30 years. He was found in ancient tombs, and he was still fit for consumption. A common mistake is underestimating caloric needs. An average adult needs about 1 pound of rice a day for sufficient calories. For a supply of 180 days for a family of 4, you will need 720 pounds of rice. This is about 15 large bags of 50 pounds each. Why has there been a panic demand now? Rice harvesting heavily depends on stable climate conditions and water availability. As both of these factors become more unreliable, a sharp rise in prices for packages weighing 22.5 kilograms is expected. Purchasing supplies now means providing thousands of meals for less than $400. It's an incredible value. The next item is dried beans, a complete source of protein. Beans perfectly complement rice. Together they form a complete protein providing all essential amino acids. This is vital for maintaining muscle mass and long-term health. The best options are pinto, black, red beans, and lentils. Lentils cook faster, which becomes critically important when cooking fuel is limited. Regarding storage, it is recommended to allocate 1 kilogram of beans per person per week. For 180 days, which is 26 weeks for a family of 4, you will need about 45 kilograms in total. Mix different varieties for a variety of nutrients and flavors. Eating the same thing every day is a serious psychological stress in a crisis situation. It is important to understand that dried beans are often underestimated because they take time to cook. However, in the long run, their unlimited shelf life and high nutritional value make them invaluable. When people exhaust their supplies of canned protein, they will desperately seek dried beans. And, like rice, they are easy to store in airtight containers. The next item is pasta. Convenient and quick calories. Pasta, especially made from durum wheat, can be stored for 10 to 30 years with proper storage. They prepare quickly, require less fuel than beans, and provide familiar comfort food in a stressful situation. However, the key point in storing pasta is moisture control. Even a small leak of moisture, whether from humidity or damaged packaging, can quickly spoil everything inside the bucket. Make sure your buckets are airtight and use oxygen absorbers. Regarding the calculation of supplies, it is recommended to allocate 1 kilogram of pasta per person per week. For a 180-day supply for 4 people, 45 kilograms will be needed. Look for sales. This is one of the simplest and cheapest products for initial stock. The next item is canned proteins. Convenience and rotation. Tuna, canned chicken, salmon, and beef are essential products. Why? Because they require no preparation. When you are tired, stressed, injured, or faced with a sudden emergency, opening a can of chicken is much easier than cooking dried beans. These products have a shelf life of 2 to 5 years, so stock rotation is important. Aim for at least 3 cans per person per week. This will amount to 216 cans for 6 months for a family of 4. It's quite expensive, costing between $432 to $864 for a full supply. It is here that people most often start to panic and stock up on supplies, as this is the most familiar form of food storage. The lesson I learned early on is not to wait for panic. Purchase 6 boxes of 48 cans each over the next 6 paychecks. The next item is canned vegetables and fruits. Only grain and beans can lead to nutrient deficiencies. In particular, a lack of vitamin C can cause scurvy, which kills slowly but as inevitably as hunger. You need to stock up on canned vegetables like corn, peas, tomatoes, green beans, as well as canned fruits like pineapples and peaches. The goal is 2 containers per person per week. This will total 144 containers in 6 months. Purchase vitamin C-rich foods like tomatoes and fruits in juice and regularly replenish supplies. The cost of these goods is lower than that of proteins, ranging from $144 to $288, but their nutritional value is priceless. The next important commodity is cooking oil. Without fats, you will slowly starve, even if you have enough carbohydrates and proteins. Fats are essential for hormone production, vitamin absorption, and providing caloric density. An important product in this category is oil with a long shelf life. This is olive oil in a dark glass container, ghee, clarified butter, and most importantly, coconut oil. Coconut oil has the longest shelf life and is mentioned in my free guide due to its stability. The norm is about 2 tablespoons per person per day. A supply for 180 days for 4 people amounts to about 3 gallons. This is critically important for cooking and overall health. Buy it now, while quality coconut oil is available at a reasonable price. The next item is salt. Salt has no expiration date. It is a mineral. In addition to adding flavor and iodine content for thyroid health, you need large volumes for food preservation. In conditions where there is no refrigerator, salt is the main method of preservation used for curing or preserving meat, fish, and vegetables. Most people preparing for emergencies buy 5 to 10 pounds of salt for consumption. However, a sensible person acquires 50 additional pounds of salt for preservation. The total need for 4 people over 6 months, including a reserve for unforeseen circumstances, is about 90 pounds. It's incredibly cheap, but salt will disappear from the shelves as it is essential for survival and food safety. The next items are sugar and honey. White granulated sugar, stored in a dry place, has an unlimited shelf life. It serves 3 functions: preservation, making jams and jellies, and is a source of high-calorie emergency energy. Try to have 5 pounds per person per month, a total of 120 pounds for 6 months for a family of 4. There is also raw honey. Raw honey never spoils. 3,000-year-old honey found in Egyptian tombs was still edible. Besides energy, it is a natural antimicrobial agent, making it essential for treating wounds and soothing sore throats. It is expensive, between $30 to $60 per gallon of raw honey, but its indefinite shelf life and medicinal properties justify such expenses. It is recommended to have 2 gallons per person. The next item is yeast and the main ingredients for baking. This is a product that beginners often overlook. focusing solely on ready-made food. If you have a storage of wheat berries or all-purpose flour that must be kept in vacuum packaging and regularly updated, you need a reliable way to raise the dough. Without fresh yeast, you will rely on wild starters, which are excellent but capricious. Yeast in vacuum packaging, stored in the freezer, can last for decades. When grocery stores close, the entire supply chain for baking will collapse, including the ability to produce and distribute fresh yeast. Stock at least 20 pounds of baking powder or soda and freeze enough yeast for baking for 5 years. This allows stored grains to be processed into nutritious bread, rather than just a health risk. Item 14. Long-term vitamin reserves. We discussed canned vegetables, but even with them, there will inevitably be deficiencies in nutrients during a prolonged crisis, especially if fresh produce is unavailable for several months. Vitamins and minerals are cheap medical insurance. Currently, panic buying is focused on high doses of vitamin C, ascorbic acid, B-complex vitamins, and vitamin D. Vitamin C is essential for fighting infections and preventing scurvy. Vitamin D is important for immune function, especially when people are indoors during crisis situations. The main thing here is durability. Buy supplements with the longest expiration dates and store them in their original dark containers in a cool, dry place. Aim for a 2-year supply of daily multivitamins and large format vitamin C that last longer than capsules. Dental health, wound healing, and resistance to common diseases depend on these trace elements. Ignoring them guarantees a slow deterioration of health. Category 3. Energy and cooking. You have 320 kilograms of rice and beans. How are you going to cook them? When the electrical grid fails, your electric stove becomes a useless item. This category concerns efficiency, backup, and self-sufficiency. Point 15. Propane cylinders. Propane is the most efficient and easily stored modern fuel for cooking. A 20-pound propane tank provides about 20 hours of cooking time on a standard camping stove. For 6 months of daily cooking for a family, you will need 10 to 15 cylinders. Panic buying focuses on the cylinders themselves, not just the fuel. Since the cylinders themselves are manufactured goods subject to supply chain delays, buy the cylinders now. You can fill them gradually later. Propane can be stored indefinitely if the cylinder is properly maintained and kept in a cool place. This allows for heating a space, boiling water for sterilization, and cooking food without electricity. Point 16. Portable camping stoves. You need the ability to cook for the family, not a tiny single-function stove for tourists. Look for a reliable 2-burner camping stove. An important rule in preparation is that having a backup saves lives. If your main stove breaks down, you should have an alternative. Buy at least 2 double-burner stoves. They are affordable, costing around $50 to $100 each, and allow for cooking several dishes simultaneously, saving fuel and time. Point 17. Portable solar panels and batteries. In the year 2026, a prolonged power outage may become a reality. You won't be able to use the refrigerator, but you should be able to charge necessary low-power devices. Radios, flashlights, medical devices, and communication tools. People involved in preparation are actively buying portable solar panels with power ranging from 100 to 200 watts, along with large batteries and power stations. A 200-watt panel combined with a quality battery represents an important long-term infrastructure. The total cost of the system ranges from $350 to $700, but it will provide you with energy independence for a long time. Do not underestimate the psychological benefit of being able to charge a phone or listen to the radio while others are in darkness. Point 18. Rechargeable batteries. Everything runs on AA, AAA, C, or D batteries. Flashlights, radios, medical instruments, and personal fans. Relying on disposable alkaline batteries is short-sighted and expensive. A smart solution is a supply of quality rechargeable batteries with low self-discharge. Minimum stock: 48 AA batteries, 48 AA batteries, and 24 D batteries. They all must be paired with several solar chargers. A paradoxical piece of advice: charge them now, note the date, and check every 6 months. If you buy cheap batteries from unknown brands, they will fail you at the most inconvenient moment. Stick to trusted brands, even if they cost a little more. Point 19. High-quality LED flashlights and lamps. Darkness causes anxiety and risk. You need sturdy and reliable sources of light that will be effective. Reject cheap junk from stores. Invest in one quality LED flashlight per person, with a minimum power of 500 lumens or higher, and 3 powerful LED lamps for area lighting. Quality flashlights cost between $30 and $50 each. Look for devices that use the same rechargeable batteries you bought at Point 18. This will cost between $200 and $320, which is quite inexpensive compared to the risk of falling in the dark and needing medical assistance. Point 20. Excessive equipment for starting a fire. Fire is survival, cooking, purification, warmth, and signaling. You need 3 levels of reliability for starting a fire. Level 1. Lighters. They are cheap, reliable, and easy to use. Buy them in bulk. 50 lighters are a good start. Level 2. Waterproof matches. They are necessary in conditions of moisture or rain. 10 boxes of waterproof matches will provide hundreds of reliable ignitions. Level 3. Ferrocerium rods. These magnesium rods create a spark of 30,000 degrees Fahrenheit for an infinite time. They require skill, but never run out. Buy at least 3 quality ferrocerium rods as your last resort. This category is cheap insurance, with a total cost of less than $200, and it guarantees that you can always start a fire. Category 4 is medicine and hygiene. In the year 2020, when supply chains for medical goods collapse and hospitals begin to limit assistance, what you have at home will be the only thing you can rely on. Prevention and treatment are of utmost importance, especially considering that poor hygiene kills more people than violence in crisis situations. Item 21 is a comprehensive first aid and trauma kit. Forget about the basic $20 kits for cars. I am talking about a real trauma kit that can stop severe bleeding and treat serious wounds. At the moment, panic is focused around hemostatic gauze, quick clotting agents, chest sealants, and reliable tourniquets. A quality trauma kit can cost between $150 to $300. You should also add reliable medications, including antibiotics if you can legally acquire them, strong pain relievers, and anti-diarrheal medications. Total investments here will range from $400 to $600, and this is absolutely necessary for serious preparedness. Learn to use every item you purchase. Knowledge is the most important tool for preparation. Item 22. Over-the-counter medicines in